welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for July 17th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, I'm going to start out, I guess I'm a teenage girl this week. We'll see where that's going. It's all vampire titles this week.
Uh-oh.
It's kind of weird, but I guess I can rationalize a little because at least I'm a blaxploitation-y teenage girl.
Well, they're not sparkly vampires.
So. No, so I guess I'm all right there. But there's all these vampire books this week, which is weird. So I'm going to lead off with Blood Brothers. It's a book from Dark Horse. Don't know anything about it, but as you had pointed out when you saw the cover, that's going to be something Chris is going to grab. Because it does very much look like some kind of old-school blaxploitation movie. I don't know if this is an ongoing series, if this is... It says to be continued, so, it's at least a mini-series. The art looks kind of fun. Who's the creative team on this? Well, this one's ripped, so that's awesome. It is written by Mike Gagerman and Andrew Waller. Art by Evan Shaner, someone I am unfamiliar with. Looks cool. I'm excited about it. It's a Raphael Albuquerque cover, too, I'm guessing.
Look like it.
Very much looks like Albuquerque. That was kind of the thing that drew me to it, so... Then I've got issue number 1. This is another Dark Horse book. Maybe this is Dark Horse's fault this week. I don't know. We got another Dark Horse book. This is The Strain, The Fall. So this is the second miniseries they've done with The Strain. The last one was like 9 or 10 parts or whatever. This was originally a novel by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. There were 3 novels. It was a series of 3 novels. Then Dark Horse adapted, that first miniseries. And then there are talks that FX has picked it up and Guillermo del Toro is supposed to direct the pilot.
Interesting.
So that should be kind of interesting. I'm actually reading the first book right now. So even though I picked this week, I think it's primarily because I'm getting excited about The Strain. I've read the novel. I don't think I can read this until I've at least finished reading the first miniseries of the novel.
Yeah.
So, but I'm getting into The Strain. I'm getting in, checking it out, excited about it. Then I've got a book from Boom. This is another issue number 1. This is called Daymen. So I guess people that travel through the day dealing with the vampires. There's definitely chick and a dude on the cover with fangs. The creative team, we've got Matt Gagnon and Michael Allen Nelson are the writers, and Brian Stelfreeze is the artist. I've not seen him do a lot of stuff in a while. It looks good though. Looks pretty cool. I don't really know the premise at all, but I don't know. Figured I'd throw it in because it was more vampires. Is that a werewolf? Nope, just a weird vampire with a long, weird tongue, kind of like the ones in The Strain.
Interesting.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm a vampired up this week. Then I've got over here, this is issue number 7 of Marvel's Morbius the Living Vampire. They might as well just do it up. This is a book that, as I've often said, I don't even know why I'm reading it anymore. I get a kick out of it primarily because it's Morbius. The story's been okay. Turns out the book's been canceled. So I've been maybe in some ways been saved for myself. I can go ahead and just follow this along for a little while, at least until the story's over. Looks like Spider-Man's in there. I don't know if this is supposed to be...
he's got the funky eyes.
Yeah, he's got the funky eyes, so I guess that's Doc Ock. Just kind of weird. Oh, there we go. How dare you question. All right, he's very much, Doc Ocking it up. Whatever. Then I'm looking at Thor, God of Thunder. This is issue number 10, God Bomb, Part 4.
It's a nice cover.
It's a really cool cover. It looks like... so I think that's Thor in the future, right? Even though it's eye-patched guy, it's not Odin.
He's holding Mjolnir.
And he's got Mjolnir. So this is, this God Slayer character has been roaming around for quite some time. It crosses through a moment of Thor's youth. And then you get a moment in the present and then a thing in the future. And they're kind of all bringing them together. It's pretty much the same story that's been going on since issue 1, but they brought it to a, kind of a spot, a chapter break with part 6, and then moving right along for the next thing. But it is following the same story. They didn't necessarily start a new story arc or anything, but it's been cool. I really like it. Covers have been great. Art's been great. I think Jason Aaron's been doing a great job. Cool book. This is Nova, issue 6. You have pointed out that this is no more Mark Waid and Ed McGuinness. So we got Zeb Wells or Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. This is Mark Waid's writing everything else. And he's mostly doing things I like. I don't always like Jeff Loeb, but I had been liking what he was doing on Nova. This is Zeb Wells and Paco Medina. The artwork looks fine. Looks all right. It is obviously not Eddie McGuinness. Quite different. Not quite as cartoony. Obviously I'm going to miss his work there. But you and I both have kind of talked about not big fans of Zeb Wells.
Not really.
I haven't really loved a lot of the stuff he's done, but I do really like this book right now, and I'm hoping that he can just carry it. Maybe the character is strong enough. when it comes right down to it, it's never the character's fault one way or the other. It's always the writers. So we shall see where this ends up. Next, this is the final issue. This is issue number 4 of Non-Humans by Image Comics. I have kind of liked this story, and I am literally the only person who's reading it from this store. No one buys it. No one, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
The first issue, came out, and few people bought it. It looked like it was going to be an ongoing series and looked kind of interesting. And then it was 4 months before the second issue came out.
Yeah.
And I had maybe 5 or 6 copies, and I probably still have 5 copies. Then the third issue came out, and I had about 5 or 6 copies, and I still have 5 copies. Nobody's buying it. Maybe now that it's finally over, people will take the time to pick up all 4 issues. A virus has happened where kids who still kind of have their youthful spirit are bringing to life inanimate objects. A rejected toy from this police officer's past is kind of the one who's now organizing all these toys to cause all kinds of trouble. It's a little convoluted along the way, but it's Whilce Portacio artwork, which looks pretty good. Obviously, he hasn't done much, over the last 20 years. But I like it. I don't really know anything about the writer. This guy's Brunswick, but I like it. It's been all right. It's finally over. So that's that. Hopefully we get a nice conclusion. Looking at Archer Armstrong number 11 by Valiant Comics. They got very Brady Bunch kind of cover going on there. Aliens and dinosaurs and such. They have ended up in this other land where I believe they had to pass through to get from where they were when they first set off the device and killed everyone. There was something involved in that. I don't know if they're going straight up Lost Land. There are some natives. I don't know if they're going to try and make some allusions to Turok. I don't think they have the license to Turok at this point. Mm-hmm. But there are dinosaurs. There is kind of a Lost Land thing going on here. Kind of cool. I really like this book. It's just kind of a fun buddy book, kind of deal. Buddy comedy. Harbinger Wars number 4. I'm kind of liking the story that's going on in Harbinger and Bloodshot a little bit better than the Harbinger Wars itself. It's okay. They've introduced us to a lot of characters. Yeah, they're doing stuff with our group, Pete and Faith and Torque and everybody. But the Harbinger Wars itself seems like it just introduced me to so many characters, and it's kind of trying to fit all of that stuff in, where we're getting more backstory of what happened between Harada and Rising Spirit in the other books. And I think they've played that well, and I think that's been pretty cool. I guess that takes me through the bulk of my stack. What are you looking at?
I'm going to start off with Batman 66. This is Jeff Parker and Jonathan Case. This is the 1966 Adam West Batman in comic book form. This was actually originally released as one of DC's digital firsts. And the way that it's I think they call it DC2, which is an interactive kind of comic book, kind of somewhere between a traditional comic book and a motion comic where you tap the screen. It's usually full screen. Different elements will pop up. The sound effects will pop up. There's no audio, but like the sound effect lettering. Sometimes you'll tap it and then panels will kind of stack up on top of each other. So it's a really interactive way to read a comic book, almost kind of not even being a comic book anymore.
All right.
Which is one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting about it. But with this, I'm really curious to see, when I was looking at the digital comic, which came out a couple weeks ago, I thought there's no way they could translate that format to print because the layouts were completely different.
This does have almost, if you put on the red and blue glasses, like it would pop. Things look like they're doubled up back there.
There's some weird like 3D coloring effects that are kind of neat.
It looks cool, but...
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm a big fan of the old TV show. Not everybody is. So I really want to check this out.
Cesar Romero's my favorite Joker.
I do believe...
Well, Mark Hamill, but...
When the Joker eventually shows up in here, you will be able to notice the mustache.
That's what I've heard.
And I guess they're going to switch Catwoman with no explanation at some point, too. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great show. Supposedly at Comic-Con this year, which is coming up this weekend, there's rumor that there's going to be a big announcement regarding... the Adam West Batman. Hopefully that means it's finally coming out on Blu-ray or DVD or some sort of home video. We'll see. It could just be more toys. I know there's a bunch of toys and all kinds of... So basically they're putting out everything.
But if they don't own the show, how can... If Warner doesn't exactly own the show, how can they make things with the likenesses of those people unless they've cleared it with the people?
They would have to have cleared it with the people.
Okay.
The holdup was Fox actually owns the show itself.
Correct.
but they can still license the likenesses and things like that.
Okay.
Around. So basically, as long as they're not like adapting, stories or things like that, they're all kind of in a weird safe area. Or there's talk that there's just finally a deal with Fox.
Okay.
Where Fox has basically said,
which would be great.
You were going to get a piece of the action. So somebody hopefully has finally just said, look, I'd rather have less money than no money, and this is going to be a lot of money no matter what.
Yeah.
Next up, All New X-Men number 14. This is a great book. Last issue, we had a big confrontation between the All New X-Men and what is essentially the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, even though I don't think they've actually called them that in the book. But one of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is Mastermind's daughter.
Okay.
Who has basically popped into Jean Grey's mind and started messing around with it the way her father did, which eventually led to the Phoenix and all that stuff happening. So yeah, we've got here on the cover.
Is that Sebastian Shaw?
It's Jason Wingard.
Oh, okay.
But it's probably it's his daughter messing around with Jean Grey's mind, potentially unleashing the Phoenix, and we know how that ended up last time. But this is a great book. Stuart Immonen on the artwork. Really, really just sort of. It started off kind of odd. Now it's really just the X-Men in the present.
Yeah.
Just another team.
I like it. Yeah. I like it a lot. I
It's-
haven't enjoyed an X-Men book in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that one.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite X-Men since Joss Whedon's Astonishing.
Sure.
Next up, Invincible number 104. What's this guy's name? I can never remember the guy.
Oh, half the time I can, the other time I can't.
I don't know, the guy with the big brain thing
Yeah.
going on. I can't remember his name. But he's back. Eve is pregnant, and she can't use her powers because when she uses her powers, it runs the risk of harming the baby. So he showed up, and he's screwing with her, but she can't defend herself because she might kill the baby.
And Mark ends up in a zombie dimension.
Yeah, Mark shows up to save the day, and he teleports him off to another dimension where he sees basically a zombie version of himself feasting on a dead other version of himself. So apparently there's a whole bunch of Invincibles getting sent to this dimension to get eaten by... it might not be a zombie. He could just be a cannibal.
Sure.
Because he doesn't look zombified. But yeah, that's some weird stuff. Just when you think you've got this book figured out, you've got...
Even if it was zombies, it'd be great. Just teleport them to a black and white world.
Oh, that would be awesome. It looks like we've got a mohawked Angstrom Levy. That's
there you go. Yeah.
He's the one that looks kind of like the leader.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's messing things up. He showed up again. He found out that Invincible's not dead. Everybody's kind of figured that out now. Some people have forgiven him. Some people haven't. There's a lot of drama there, but really some interesting stuff. And
it's been a great book. I think it's the best superhero book on the stands.
The twist on her being pregnant and not being able to use her powers, but if she doesn't use her powers, then the baby might die if she gets killed. Some kind of neat stuff. I've seen lots of superhero pregnancy stories, but I've not seen that twist before, which is kind of interesting. Next up, we've got Avengers number 16, Prelude to Infinity. That looks like the Hulk. I don't know if that's the Hulk or not. I don't think it's supposed to be the Hulk. I don't know what he'd be doing here. But anyway, this is Jonathan Hickman, Nick Spencer, and Stefano Caselli. Yep.
Okay.
This is Prelude to Infinity, so we're building towards that. I still haven't figured out exactly how this is leading to Infinity. But
it doesn't seem like too much of a tie-in, but with the way Hickman works.
Right. There's subtle things here and there, but this has been a great book. We've got, looks like we've got some of the new universe characters.
It's a very different Avengers book.
Yeah.
For being the flagship Avengers book, it's not like
the Avengers, the classic Avengers, are not really in the book that much. But hey, that's kind of cool. He's
and that's what Hickman
does. We've got the Spider-Man in this one, Doc Ock Spider-Man. So yeah, very, very different book. So different from any Avengers that I've ever read before. But it's Jonathan Hickman, so I guess you would expect that. Next up, something that was almost my top pick. Thanos Rising.
I'm excited about this
Jason Aaron, Simone Bianchi. This book has been great.
I like it.
This has been great. I know you didn't like the
I didn't love the first issue. I didn't like that. But the second and third issues, I felt like kicked it in gear.
Once he grew up a little bit and turned into the Thanos we all know and fear, it's been really good. Jason Aaron writes some grim, dark, twisted stuff.
One of like Death, just always at his shoulder, kind of kicking him along here.
Going around killing all his hundreds of children that are floating around. Great stuff, all leading towards infinity and really kind of reestablishing Thanos as one of the preeminent Marvel villains.
Because we've got some movies coming.
But good stuff. I mean, they could easily just crap these things out, but they're actually doing a nice job and really making him a villain the way he was really back in the 90s after the Infinity Gauntlet and all of that stuff. Next up, Fantastic Four number 10. They're popping through time and space, and it looks like they are present at the signing of the Constitution, and one of the founding fathers is a Skrull. It's hard to tell.
He has long white hair, he's a little bald.
Oh, he does have the glasses, so yeah. Ben Franklin apparently was a Skrull. I don't know if he's still a Skrull when he's in Deadpool in the present. But yeah, some wild stuff. The Fantastic Four, like I said, they've been popping around time and space. Apparently that is all going to sort of come to a head along with another book we're talking about in a minute. But I
like the book so far. I think Matt Fraction is doing a very different book than what Hickman was doing.
Oh, very much so.
But you almost have to try and come in and just walk in Hickman's shoes isn't going to be easy. So he came in and did something different.
Yeah.
But it didn't throw any of those stories out. They all worked together and everything happened.
All good kind of old school Fantastic Four stuff. It's not cutting edge.
I've been Fantastic Four for a long time now. I go in spurts with that one where when it's not good, I'm like, I got to drop off for a little while. Yeah. It's been really good for quite a while now.
I would say, well, certainly since
Hickman took over.
Even before that, the Mark Miller run I didn't like so much, but before that they had Dwayne McDuffie.
Oh yeah, read his. Yep.
So yeah, I'm glad to see. Fantastic Four has always been one of my favorite titles. I actually have every issue going back to like issue 47.
Oh, nice.
It's one of my biggest collections. One of my favorite comics. Really, my first favorite comic I ever had was Fantastic Four. Along those lines, we've got FF number 9. This is looks like we've got Joe Quinones on artwork doing a similar style to Mike Allred, but still noticeably different. This is kind of the weirder, wackier cousin to the Fantastic Four book. This has got the She-Hulk and Ant-Man and Miss Thing and who else? Can't remember who else is in it, but all the members of the Future Foundation, Bentley. The son of the wizard, the Moloid kids.
I like that whole thing.
Really, all the characters that Hickman introduced are still here. They've just added She-Hulk and Medusa, and added up kind of the superhero quotient. Miss Thing, who now has Thing rings, and says, "Thing ring, do your thing," and she puts them together. Yeah, but it's fun stuff. Definitely a wacky book, and apparently it's going to kind of collide with the regular Fantastic Four book at some point in the future. Next up, Green Lantern New Guardians. This is the Kyle Rayner White Lantern book. He's running around the universe with the Templar Guardians. At the end of last issue, they found this remnant of an ancient universe. I believe that's this character, Relic. What that means, who knows? But this is going to be part of this Relic storyline. I think is going to kind of go into some of the other Lantern books. I think that's where their crossover is going to be. But Kyle Rayner's always been one of my favorites. Justin Jordan's doing a good job with this. He's the guy who did Luther Strode.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So yeah, some good sci-fi stuff in here.
Is he doing a couple of Green Lantern books, or is he just doing that one?
I don't know.
Wasn't someone doing 2 books?
There's 2 people doing Green Lantern Corps.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I know one of them is Robert Venditti, who's doing the regular Green Lantern book. He's just co-plotting, and then someone else is scripting. Okay. So yeah, maybe Justin Jordan's doing the co-plotting and scripting on that one too. But all in all, good stuff. This has actually got some really nice artwork. Yeah, it's kind of neat to see Kyle Rayner as a White Lantern, something a little different. Good stuff. Next up, Ultimate Spider-Man number 25. This is continuing the Spider-Man No More after the death of his mother. He's given up being Spider-Man, and everybody is trying to talk him back into being Spider-Man. This has got the appearance of Ultimate Cloak and Dagger.
Okay.
And basically everywhere he goes, some sort of horrible stuff goes on, and somebody goes, "Come on, change into Spider-Man." And he goes, "I'm not doing that anymore." And they're like, "But you have to. With great power comes great responsibility." And he's just basically, "No, my mom died. I don't feel like doing this anymore." I have a feeling he's probably going to wind up putting the costume back on. If not, this is going to be a boring book moving forward. So let's hope it's coming sometime soon. And that's my stack.
All right, well, I guess that brings me to the top of my stack. I've actually got 2 books at the top of my stack this week because 2 issues of The Mysterious Strangers came in this week. We got Mysterious Strangers, issues 1 and 2 from Oni. This is a book that was a free comic book day book. It was titled The Strangers then, just The Strangers. This is a reprint of that same issue, but it's now titled The Mysterious Strangers. It's written by Chris Roberson, illustrated by Scott Kowalczyk. It's got kind of a almost like a Mike Allreddy vibe, primarily in the colors and the way it's inked, but the art itself, not exactly the same. Looks quite a bit different. Very simple.
Comic-looking stuff.
Yeah, but it looks good. I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't really know what it's about. I never did read the free comic book day thing. What do we got here? It's a different time, a strange time. Astronauts from East and West race to be the first to reach the moon. While teenagers shimmy and frog to pop music blasting from transistor radios and jukeboxes, their parents worry about the Cold War and the powers beyond the Iron Curtain. But there are other wars they don't know about, and even greater powers hidden from view. Yes, this is a strange time, and it's about to get even stranger. So basically it's going to take place during that kind of Cold War era, superhero weirdness. And the art looks cool.
Cool.
I'm kind of excited about it.
My top is Justice League of America, number 6. This is not a book I normally get. I picked up maybe the first 1 or 2 issues, I think.
Okay.
And just didn't click with it. The characters are not my favorite Justice League characters. But this is the second part of Trinity War.
Yes.
It's also the debut of Doug Mahnke on artwork. Jeff Johns is still writing it along with Jeff Lemire, apparently, because Justice League Dark, I think, is the other book in this crossover. But yeah, this is the second part of the crossover. I'm not going to spoil what happened at the end of Justice League, but something big and potentially controversial, something that actually is quite topical. I don't know. Did you read it?
I didn't read it, but I did hear something involving Superman.
Yeah, so there's some stuff that goes down that isn't quite what it appears to be. So it's going to be something that will sort of shake the Justice League to its foundations.
All right.
And this is continuing the storyline. We've got the Justice League of America confronting the Justice League. Basically, they go, Shazam goes over to Kahndaq to spread the ashes of Black Adam. But of course, that's a very controversial area, very kind of a war zone. So the Justice League shows up to escort him out, and then the Justice League of America shows up to escort them out. And of course, when 2 superhero teams show up at the same place, they have to fight.
Always.
So the fight ensues, and some stuff goes down, and somebody dies, and this is the fallout from that. And we're going to find out exactly who is behind all this. Someone is manipulating these events to clearly make the superheroes fight and look bad. So it's kind of that sort of a storyline. But who it is, I guess we'll find out in probably 5 issues. So yeah, they got me this time. I don't buy Justice League Dark or Justice League America, but I'll pick them up for this crossover because it's been pretty good. And I really do like the artwork.
It's DC's first crossover. How do you not get sucked in?
And Doug Mahnke was a great artist. He was with Jeff Johns on Green Lantern.
Oh, okay.
So I've loved his work ever since he was drawing Superman back in like the early 2000s. So yeah, it's good to see him again. Hopefully this book will be good.
I have a friend named Doug Mahnke who's actually gotten calls looking for the other guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Doug shops here.
Oh, cool. Whenever he sees the book, does he kind of go?
No, he never really has.
He should sign a couple copies.
He is himself.
Yeah.
So there's that.
You can sign it. Anybody can sign a comic.
Well, that's true. And it would be signing his name, which is not the right guy.
Right. I'm going to go find some dude named Jack Kirby. Have him sign a bunch of stuff.
Did I tell you about the guy that came in here? He apparently bought a storage locker down in Ohio. He had like 4 issue number 1s of Avengers. And so he's telling me, he's like, I just bought these comic books. They were in this locker. And there was this original artwork. And I was like, okay. Like at first I thought he bought it around here. He tells me he bought everything for $250. But at some point in time, he's like, I've got this original artwork. There's a lot of stuff in there from some guy named Jack Kirby. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. He's like, well, no, I have heard of the name. And I'm just like shrugging it off. Like, I don't even know if I believe this right now. I don't know what's going on. Like, if Ashton Kutcher or some other jackass comes floating around that corner putting a camera in my face.
Comic book punk.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that guy.
That Kirby guy.
That is your Week in Geek.